It's a rainy day.
Llevo par de años en esto y yo sigo aquí, sigo firme aquí. Ha sido fuerte el trayecto, pero voy a mí, yo voy siempre a mí. Manín, yo me disfruto esto, porque su plan es perfecto. Yo no siempre estoy contento, pero en Jesús estoy completo. Yeah. En Jesús estoy completo todos los días, aunque la nevera esté vacía. Quiero ser legendario todavía y cuando yo sea leyenda puede ser que ni lo diga. Ey, sigo trabajando, no sé tú. Recuerdo mis años de empleo en Jagger Fruit. Yo estaba en un locker sin el food, pero yo siempre he sido un tiger como Wood. Ey, yo no cambié.
These are your stock market trading basic rules. Keeping it simple, keeping it basic. These are the most important rules, the most important basics. Even before you learn anything, any strategy. Obviously, we first showed you our our basic strategies. We're gonna come up with a couple more, but these are our basic strategies. LT defense strategy, Derek Jeter singles, DJS. It's easy to remember things with acronyms like RPM, religion, politics, money. You better get that shit right. And LTD and DJS.
Mi abogado ya ganó, dejé su juicio. Me sacó del vicio. La conexión con L7G y nunca está fuera de servicio. Sigo aquí de pie con vida en modo resistencia. Sin fecha de expiración, siempre en vigencia. En terreno para flow, antidecadencia. Toda la gloria dio su máxima excelencia. Duro, contra la marea y el viento. Cristo es el camino y la verdad, ¿pa' que te miento? Él es mi roca y mi sustento. Me quedaré hasta el día del supremo llamamiento.
By the way, that is Redimil and EC Gabriel. EMC Gabriel, the song, EMC Gabriel, in case you speak Spanish. Obviously, you gotta learn Espanol. I'm sorry to break it down to you, but you know what I mean? No matter how many they deport, no matter how tall the wall, they're not gonna stop coming. This is the richest country on the planet with like 50 other broke countries below it. They're gonna find a way through land, sea, or air. They will continue to risk their life to come to America. That is how bad it is down there. You know what I mean? In the third world, that's how bad it is in the third world. That these people will risk their life for a chance to work for $7 an hour. Hashtag no lie. But this video is not about that. This video is about you and I. This video is about my new channel, OG Stockman. OG Stockman. The link is below in the description. Go subscribe. In the next 2, 3, 4, in a couple weeks, we gotta get it all organized. We're gonna start making our new stock market strategies, our new videos, finance updates like Berkshire Hathaway. Warren Buffett just said, "Give me that," and dropped all his Visa and MasterCard stocks. Millions and millions and millions of dollars. He said, give me that back. And instead, he dumped $234 million into Google. These finance updates will give you an inside clue into where to allocate your investments. Now, the number one thing you need to understand about the stock market before you get your news and updates and strategies is this is not gambling. This is not DraftKings. Sorry, this is not Cashy. This is not Polymarket. This is not, sports betting. This is not gambling. That is the number one thing. The number one thing you need to get through your thick skull is that this is not gambling. No, 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 no. This is not crypto. No, 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 no. There are some opportunities in crypto. I'm not anti-crypto. You know what I mean? But I'm not the biggest proponent of crypto either. Because you see, there's nothing backing it. There is no intrinsic value. There is no end value for the end consumer in crypto. It's not like Coca-Cola. You know what I mean? Where they're actually selling a real product for like the last 100 years. You know what I'm saying? It's not like Geico. It's not like McDonald's or Walmart or Home Depot. But this video is not really about crypto, okay? But crypto, in my opinion, I'm not anti-crypto. You know what I'm saying? But crypto should be, you know, like maybe 5% of your portfolio. Maybe 2%. And if it is, make sure it's Bitcoin and not any shit coins. You know what I'm saying? That are even worse. There's no volume. And there's short periods of volatility in crypto. Crypto is gambling. You know what I mean? And you want to stay as far from gambling when it comes to your trading and making money, casherini, mularini. You know what I'm saying? You better stay away. You need to not completely stay away, but you do not want crypto to be more than like 5% of your holdings, more than 5% of your time. You know what I mean? And especially in the beginning when you're learning, you know what I mean? Crypto's kind of like a hobby because it's more towards the gambling side of things. And I don't gamble. You know what I mean? I have never gambled. I have never, ever put my casherini, lock the doors. You know we don't trust none of these Mexicans. Boy, pull the windows up, lock the doors, and stay paranoid. Hashtag no lie. I have never, ever gambled. No. I have been to Vegas. I have been to Atlantic City. We're gonna get to it. We're gonna break it down for you. Don't you worry. There's a whole lot of value in these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 simple basic rules. There's a whole lot of value right there. We're gonna break it down. But first, we're gonna talk about number 1. Because no matter how many times you say it, they might not just understand. Most people will not understand. This is not gambling. This is not gambling. This requires skills like Shakur Stevenson, Alexander Usyk, Floyd Money Mayweather. This requires skills and practice and persistence and consistency and patience. Hold up, done. We gotta fix up the knots. We gotta fix the knots. We gotta keep the knots organized. We gotta keep the knots organized. Protect the capital. Protect the capital first. When you get to you know what I mean, your things that you actually do, you know what I mean? What's first? Protect the capital. Protect the money before you invest the money, before you even make any money. The first thing you must do is keep your money on your mind and your mind on your money and protect what you already have. Hashtag no lie. Gotta protect the capital, dunda. I got this Mexican next to me. You know what I'm saying? Got me fucking paranoid. And we don't really want him looking at us too much, you know what I'm saying? Hashtag no lie. Hold on. You know how I do. You know. One thing you know about me is that I wake up paranoid. I go to sleep paranoid. You know what I mean? Even ever since I was a little boy, people always told me, why are you so paranoid? I'd be like, because I like my casherini and mularina to stay in my pocket. You know what I'm saying? Hashtag no lie. I have never ever gambled. I have never gambled in Vegas. I've been to Vegas. I never gambled in Atlantic City. I've been to Atlantic City. Not $1. I have never bet on sports. You will never ever catch no DraftKings or Poly Market on my phone. No, 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 no. I don't play with my money, boy. No, 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 no. No, no, no. Not even a game of cards on a barbecue. At a summer barbecue. No, 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 no. Yo, OG. You want to play some spades? You want to bet $5? $5? Chill. I don't play with my $5. You know what I mean? Boy. That's a trick from the devil, son. You know what I mean? It's monkey see, monkey do. You do not need to be a monkey too. You know what I mean? I have never ever gambled. Ever in my life. Maybe at a total of maybe 4 lottery tickets my entire life, and I'm 40 plus. In my entire life, I have bought maybe 4 lottery tickets when the shit was like over $500 million. You know what I'm saying? I can't even remember. That was like when I was like maybe 30 years old or something, 25 years old. You know what I mean? But I definitely do not buy lottery tickets every weekend. Bro, every time you go to the convenience store and you see like a line of people spending like $20, $30, $40 on lottery tickets, I'd be like, this is totally insane. What is wrong with these people? That's like food for a week. You know what I mean? And the young bucks nowadays, you know what I mean? You see them on Poly Market. You see them on Cashy, on DraftKings, on, you know what I mean? There's like 100 different apps for betting on NBA, NFL, MLB, FIFA. Bro. Do not play with your fucking money. You know what I mean? And that is the first thing. You need to get rid of all the gambling in your life. You know what I mean? Before you even consider investing in the stock market and getting rich, you know what I mean? Or subsidizing your income, you know what I mean? You need to get rid of all the gambling. Because if you have any type of gambling habits and you get into the stock market, you're going to lose all your money. Hashtag no lie. You know what I mean? Stock market trading is not gambling. I hate to repeat it so many times because I understand that like a lot of people have a gambling habit. It might not be a full-blown addiction, but any type of you have any type of gambling habits, or you know what I mean, if you're into gambling in any type of way, the stock market is not for you. So pause the video and get out of here. You know what I'm saying? This is for people that could remove the gambling from their life and can protect the Casherini Mularini. Can protect the Casherini Mularini. Hashtag no lie. My videos are designed to be entertaining and funny, you know what I mean? And animated, but I am not kidding at all. At all. This is real money. Real money on the line. It's not gambling. You need to back it up with skills, real research, but it is real money, your money on the line. You know what I'm saying? You want to protect the capital. You want to start small. But never ever forget that it's real money on the line. And we got more. Eventually, we're going to be putting up like $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 every fucking morning. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to start small with $100, $200, $300. You know what I mean? Protect the capital. You know what I'm saying? Protect the capital, baby. Protect the capital. We got more. Yeah, they're different ones. Different bundles. Different ones, okay? It's not the same bundle. I mean, and we got more and more and more, and they just never end. You know what I'm saying? So, I realized that I need to get new skills. This is something completely new to me. You know what I mean? But you know I'm going to catch on real quick for the Casherini Mularini. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to get me my screens. I might have to buy a new computer. I already have like 4 or 5 computers, but I might have to get a new one that is real fast, that has a fast processor, so I can see the charts, everything going up and down, you know what I'm saying? This requires skills, research, you know what I mean? But I know that eventually, once I get it locked down, I know that eventually I'm going to be able to go in there, work 2-3 hours, and crack them for $20. Crack them for $100. Crack them for $100, $200, eventually $300, $400, $500, you know what I mean? But always keep your mind on your capital first. You see, one thing I learned, right? Because whenever I get into any type of business, the first thing I want to learn is the basics, the foundation. You know what I mean? The first thing I've been studying for like about a month, right? And I'm already catching on real quick. You know what I'm saying? The first thing I realized is that the stock market is just like any other business. Of course, it requires different type of skills, right? But the foundation and the basics is the same. You need to understand risk and reward. You need to understand how to protect the money that you already have. You know what I mean? Before you make money, which is number 3, before make money, second. Making money is secondary to protecting the money. Because if you don't protect what you already make, what you already have, well, when you make money, you're just going to lose that money. It's just going to be an endless cycle of degeneracy. You know what I'm saying? You don't want that. So, let's break it down. Number 1 is this is not gambling. Number 2 is protect the capital first. Number 3 is make money secondly. Number 4 is trade small and consistent. When you begin, you do not want to go for big money. You know what I'm saying? This is not gambling. You want to start real small where you can manage the risk. Because obviously, when you start and you don't have as much experience, you're going to take some L's. You know what I mean? You want those L's to be minimized, to be tiny. You know what I mean? You take a $20, $30, $40 L, a $50 L, even a $100 L. You could eat that. What you can't do is take a $300, $400, $500 L. You cannot take a $1,000 L in your first fucking week. You know what I'm saying? That is going to destroy your account, right? So you want to start small. You want to start risking small and gaining small. I got no type of problem going in and investing $500 to make 20. I got no type of problem going in investing $500 to make 20. You know what I'm saying? Research the stock. Plan it out. Which brings you to number 5. Predetermine your in and outs. Predetermine what you're going to invest, what you're risking, and what you want back. I got no type of problem investing $500 to only make $20. Go in with $500 and come out quick, like a thief in the night, with $520, $530, $540. Now I only made $20, but I got my $500 back. The number one rule is to protect the capital first. This is so important, right? Protecting the capital and realizing your risk and reward. Getting in and getting out. You know what I mean? Before shit gets too hot or too unstable. Before the chart gets too crazy where you don't know what's going on, right? You could predetermine where the chart is going to go somewhat, not 100%, but you could kind of predict where the chart is going to go, where the stock is going to go up or down, and where you're going to get in and get out. You know what I mean? Where you're going to get in and get your profit and be out. You could kind of predict that if you watch the stock the day before, a couple days before. You know what I'm saying? Because it usually has a pattern. Now that pattern is not going to be 100% the same in the future. You can't predict the future, but it's got like a 70%, a 60% chance of it being very, very similar. You know what I'm saying? This requires skills. This requires, you know what I mean, predetermination. So, like I just stated, you know what I mean, I'm gonna keep my risk low. I'll go in with 500. You know what I mean? I see what time of the day the stock goes up, right? I could predetermine and preset. I could use the filters. That's another thing I learned. You know what I mean? On the platforms. You know what I mean? On the Weebles and Charles Schwab. You know what I'm saying? On the Ninja Trader. There's a lot of them. You got to research the platforms and which one you're going to get in first, right? Which one you're going to use, because they're all different. Some are better for futures. So some are better for options. Some are better for swing trading. Some are better for day trading. You got to research this, right? But I'm most likely going to get on Webull, right? Or Charles Schwab. And if I see that the last couple of days, around 10 o'clock, 10:30, it's kind of stable, you know what I mean? I can predetermine and preset my filters, meaning I could choose the day before or a couple days before, right? I can choose one number, usually the day before. I can choose what price I want to buy the stock at. I see that the stock has been, let's say Amazon, it's at 266, right? I see that the stock has been between 246 and 266 the last 2 days, right? That's a big stock with a lot of volume, a lot of liquidity, a lot of cash, and a lot of not too much volatility, but it's got a lot of volume, right? It's got a lot of money. You know that Amazon is not going to disappear. That's another thing. You need to pick the right stocks, right? You know that Amazon is stable. Amazon is not going to disappear, and Amazon is going to be there forever and ever and ever. Hashtag no lie. So right there already, your investment, the risk has dropped, because you know that Amazon is stable. It's not going to go from $266 to $100. You know what I'm saying? You know that. Now, it could go up and it could go down, but it's not going to... You've seen it for like the last couple of weeks, and it's been steady. It's been steady. It's been around $230 to $260 for like the last year. So you could already predict that it's going to stay around that price, right? So what you're trying to predict now is what time and what day is the right time to get in and get out. Because you're just starting. You know what I mean? And you got another part of your portfolio which is for long term. But right now we're just concentrating on the get in and get out on the short term gains, right? You got part of your, you could have one account here, one account there, one account's for long term, right? And one account is for short term. We're just talking about the short term right now, right? And for short term games, I would say, you know what I mean, the stock market opens at 9:30. Around 8:30, I'm already planning my predetermination. And I'm planning to invest, it's 266 a stock, I'll buy 2 of them. I could buy, let's just round it off to $500, right? Let's just say that's a, you know what I mean? Let's just round it off to $500. About 2 stocks, right? Now, I'm trying to make only $20 a piece. I just want the price of this stock to go up $20 because I got 2 of them, and that would be 20 and 20, that's $40, right? So I'm investing $500 to possibly make $540. And I could, around the market opens at 9:30, right? Around, I'm planning to get in around 10 o'clock. Now, I could preset on my filters a price, a buy limit order that is below the price that it is right now. So I could get it cheaper. So I could have that little gap between what it is, the market, the current price, and a little gap right below. Because, you know, stocks usually go a little bit up and down. They usually go, you know what I mean, they fluctuate. They don't stay in a straight line. You know what I'm saying? They usually fluctuate, right? So I'm planning, I'm going to put in an order of 256. I want it $10 below the active price of 266. I want it at 256, right? I'm going to put in that order, and I'm going to stick a bracket at 276. So I want that, when the stock goes down, it triggers the order and it gets bought. And then if the stock throughout the day goes up to, most likely goes up to 276, it sells the order. It triggers the sell, right? If it doesn't, it just, I just own the stock. And I just wait 2 days or 3 days. Eventually, it's going to go an extra $10. But you also have the other $10 below it because you bought it below the market price. You bought it when it dipped. You bought it when it dipped. You know what I mean? Now you're getting from the dip to the upside. You're getting from the dip to the current price plus the upside. You're getting 10 here and 10 here. You know what I'm saying? And then automatically the filter, the sell order, you know what I mean, automatically triggers and sells your stock, right? And now you go back to your account and now you got $540 instead of $500, right? And then that strategy, that's a defensive strategy because, you know what I mean? Because I'm new to this, right? I'm not gonna be doing some crazy elaborate strategies that I don't understand. Maybe in the future, but you need to understand your limit. You need to understand where you're at, right? And most importantly, at any limit, no matter what experience you have, this is the difference between the professionals and the amateurs. You know what I mean? Because even the professionals that instead of putting up $500 to make $540, they're putting up $5,000 to make $5,400. You see how you just elevate? But first you need the consistency and the practice. You know what I mean? But eventually I'm going to be going in, putting up $5,000 to come out with $5,400. Just like that. In 2 hours. You know what I'm saying? But never ever forget, the professionals, the most important thing they do is they protect the $5,000. You know what I mean? They make sure they put up, you know what I mean? They got the timing right. They got the right stock, the right day. You know what I mean? The predetermination is what your plan on when you're gonna get in and what you're gonna get out. You know what I mean? You wanna have a plan of what you're gonna invest and a predetermined, pretty much almost exact plan of what you're gonna get out. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm coming off of this thing with a good plan. I'm coming off of this thing at least at, you know what I mean? Well, not at least, because it's set. It's a sell limit order, meaning it's gonna trigger like automatically. You know what I'm saying? As soon as that stock goes up from it starts at 266, it goes down to 256, it triggers for me to buy it. The system does it automatically. You gotta use technology. Once it goes up to 276, right? It triggers to sell it. I don't have to do nothing. I don't gotta click nothing. I don't even have to be at the computer. Triggers. It's just automatic, right? I just come back. Now imagine that I do that simple strategy. Now I do that on 10 stocks. Imagine that. 40 here, 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 40 here. Imagine you do that on 10 stocks. You know what I'm saying? You're coming up with thousands and thousands of dollars. Now you gotta pick the right 10 stocks. That you have to, you know what I mean, allocate time and research to each and every single one. You're not just gonna randomly pick 10 random stocks that you don't know how, you know what I mean? And then like 30% of them, work out, and the other 70% you lost money on. No. But you see how you could duplicate this strategy, duplicate this system. Let me take it back and finish off this video. You see? These are the strategies, the LT, Lawrence Taylor, you know what I mean? The Lawrence Taylor defense strategy. LTD, the bracket orders. The brackets is where you're setting up the automated triggers. $10 under, or you could do it $20 under. If you see that the stock is volatile, you see that a couple days before, you see that the stock went from 266, went down to 226. You know what I mean? Well, you could set a buy order, you know what I mean? Instead of 246, you're gonna set it a little lower, so you could get a bigger gap. Instead of $10 gap from 266 to from 256 to 266, you're gonna set that gap a little lower. You know what I mean? And grab an extra $20 or $30 down there, and then grab an extra $20 or $30 up there. And maybe your gap between where you bought it at and what your triggered sell limit order is, that sells your stock. Maybe your gap is not $20 no more. Now your gap is $40 per stock. So instead of $40, 20 over here and 20 over here, you got 40 over here and 40 over here, and you're making $80. You know what I'm saying? And that's how you slowly but surely, with defense, protecting your capital so you don't lose your money. You know what I mean? That's how you slowly but surely duplicate your strategy in different ways, in different places. You know what I'm saying? But it's the same strategy. It's just modified. If you see that one stock is more stable, like Amazon is a stock that doesn't really go up or down too much. It goes up maybe $20 up and then $20 down. You know what I mean? $35 down and then it goes up $20 up. You know what I mean? And then 20 and then 30. It stays between $50 to $60 of a swing. You know what I'm saying? And your job is to know where that swing is and where to go in and grab that swing and be out. You know what I'm saying? Like a thief in the night. Hashtag no lie. But the other one is the Derek Jeter singles. You see, because I'm not trying to duplicate $500. I'm not trying to flip my $500 into $1,000. This is not gambling. I'm trying to put in my 500 safely, and grab me 40, 50, 60 and be out. And do the same thing on another one. You know what I mean? Put another $300, $400 on another type of stock, maybe Google, right, or Apple. And boom, grab me another 40, 50 over here. Safely, and be out. You know what I mean? In the same day. Hashtag no lie. You know what I mean? And then do little by little with consistency, with research, with predetermination and planning. Now, over a couple months, right? 3, 4, 5, 6 months later, now I've duplicated that. The Lawrence Taylor strategy. In conjunction, these two go together. The singles means that he's on, Derek Jeter. For example, you don't want a Jose Canseco strategy. You know what I mean? You don't want an Albert Pujols strategy in the stock market. You want a Derek Jeter strategy. Derek Jeter would hit you, would be more of a singles hitter, an RBI hitter, more of a consistent hitter. He wouldn't hit too many home runs, but he would get you on base. He would get himself on base. He's going to bring the runner in. You know what I mean? Jose Canseco, Albert Pujols, you know what I mean? Barry Bonds, those are like home run hitters. They had a lot of strikeouts, a lot more strikeouts than Derek Jeter. You know what I mean? Different skill set. But I prefer a Derek Jeter approach to the stock market, and you need an approach that you're out to hit singles. You might, once in a while, you're about to rock these niggas, you know what I mean, and double up for a home run, you know what I mean? But that's not your goal. Your goal is the consistency of Derek Jeter. You're just trying to hit that single. You're just trying to, boom, get them $20. Boom, get them $30. Boom, get them $40. But do it consistency. And then over time, do it consistently on multiple stocks. Because imagine you had, 10 stocks, and each one is bringing you 30, 40, 50 a day. 30, 40, 50 a day. 30, 40, 50 a day. 30, 40, 60 a day. You're bringing in about $500 to $1,000 daily. And then over time, you multiply that. You know what I'm saying? So now you're bringing in $1,000, $2,000 daily. At the end of the month, you got an extra 20, 30, 40, 50 grand. You know what I'm saying? Hashtag no lie. But slowly, with consistency, always protecting your money. Do not get greedy. This is not gambling. You're not here to double up. You know what I mean? You're here to hit singles like Derek Jeter. You know what I mean? And like Lawrence Taylor, the defense strategy, because this is number one first, and then this comes second. This is about making money. This is first about protecting money. And you protect your money by doing the right research, by planning, by seeing the stability, you know what I mean? By investing in companies that are stable, that are not going to go from $266 a stock and drop overnight to $112. No, you don't want that. That's how you lose your money. You know what I'm saying? That's why I don't like crypto too much. You know what I'm saying? So, the brackets is your automated triggers that you could preset them on the websites. I didn't even know these things existed. You know what I'm saying? But I be learning the technology. You could preset the price that you want. You could preset the price you want to sell. You don't want to just set a price that you buy it and then just watch the stock go all the way up and you made some money, but then all of a sudden it dropped. And then it went up and then it dropped all the way down here again. And now all the money that you made here and all the money you made here dropped all the way down here, now below the price that you paid. And now you just wasted all your time and now you're stuck at the stock. Now you can't sell it because it's underwater. It's, you know, under the price that you paid. You know what I'm saying? So you want to set a price that you buy it, but you also need to predetermine and pre-plan where you're going to get out. You know what I mean? So you watch the stock a couple days before. Usually you see a pattern of how high the stock usually goes. If it usually goes up to 276, it went from, you know, a couple days ago it went up to 286, you know what I mean? But it hasn't gone over 300, you know what I mean? It hasn't gone up to 296 in over 6 months. You're like, it usually stays between 266, 276, and 286. It hasn't gone to $300 in the last year, you know what I'm saying? Or ever. So I'm gonna be like, is at 266? Well, I'm gonna buy at 256. I'm gonna buy a little low. I'm gonna set my buy at a little bit low. Wait it to drop. Cash that $10 right there. And then when it goes up to 276, I'm feeling a little lucky today. I'm gonna put up 280, 282, 282. When that shit goes up to 282, as soon as the market hits 282, it triggers my sell limit order. It triggers my automated order, right? And it automatically sells my stock at that price. You know what I mean? And I make my money, right? And then who cares what it does if it drops? Most likely it drops again, right? Because that's how the stock market works. After it drops, if it drops to 246 or 236, I don't lose my money. I already made my money up here and I'm out. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I hope the video helps you and at least gives you, you know, a basic predetermined plan. A basic, also a lot of these websites have paper money, like Monopoly money. So you can start, you know what I mean? You can start getting your skills, you know what I mean? Learning how this shit works, learning how the platform works, getting everything, you know what I mean, situated and practicing with paper money, with fake money, which that's what I'm gonna do, you know what I'm saying? And what I suggest anybody does, right? But there's surely a opportunity here. But this requires skills and patience. I'm gonna make more lists like this. I'm gonna make more lists and more strategies. You know what I'm saying? I can't do everything in one video, but I'm gonna make a whole lot of these. You know what I'm saying? So check out my new channel, OG Stockman. The link is below. And I hope this helps somebody. I hope, you know what I mean? You know, I hope we could I could find some new subscribers that are interested in the stock market and getting their skills. You see how it says skills right there? Because this is about skills. This is not gambling, son. This is about skills. You need patience, consistency, and repetition. PCR, persistent, consistent repetition. You see how I use acronyms. You know what I mean? Like the DJS, Derek Jeter strategy, LTS, Lawrence Taylor strategy. I use the acronyms because it's an easy way to remember a big concept or a big paragraph or a list of, you know what I mean, of things, right? By just using little letters. That once you remember those 3 letters, you remember the whole thing. You know what I mean? RPMs. You know what I mean? Religion, politics, money. You know what I mean? I learned that from a book. I learned that from a book when I was a young buck. Before I even started my first business, you know what I mean? I've had so many, I don't want to get into that, but I've had so many different businesses, right? But I've applied the same rules, the same acronyms, the same persistent, consistent repetition, the same protect the capital, protect the money when the profit comes in, protect that. You know what I mean? Don't waste your money. That's why you see me wearing the same cardigan for like the last 10 years. I got different ones, but you know what I mean? You know, I hand wash my cardigans. I don't put them in the washing machine. I don't put them, I put the pants in the washing machine, you know what I'm saying? I put the, you know, the different stuff, but not the cardigans because they get mangled. You know what I mean? They get all messed up, you know what I'm saying? And the shirts, I hand wash the shirts as well. And I put them in bleach in a bucket. Like it's not a bucket, but it's like a big tray, a big thing. I put them in, it's not bleach. It's like a whitener, right? But I put them in there and I let them sit there for like 2 days. You know what I'm saying? And then I wash them with a toothbrush. You know what I mean? Because when you put them in the when you put the tops, most of my tops I hand wash. When you put them in the washing machine, it mangles them up, and they don't stay white. Even if you put it's a whitening thing, like a bleach, right? Even if you put the bleach in the washing machine, it doesn't make them white. I don't know what it is. You know what I'm saying? If you don't let them soak in the thing, it doesn't keep them white. This shirt is like 6 years old. These shirts that I wear are like, this thing is like at least like 5 years old. You know what I mean? Most of my clothes, it's old. You know what I'm saying? So I only spend money on hats, really. Hats and shoes. And that's like only like once or twice a year. You gotta keep it cheap. Keep it cheap. Hold on, let me get my Casherini Mullarini, boy. Let me get this Casherini Mullarini right, homie. Hold up, done. Hold up. Casherini Mullarini. Please subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment, share. OG Stockman, the link is below. Thank you.